Hello everyone. So Newcastle United have been dumped out of the FA Cup once again for the second year running by a League One side in the third round of the FA Cup. This is the last word. Yes, hello everyone. So I'm next to Sainsbury's, just up from Hillsborough. Bit of carry on, bit of commotion going on with the home fans mixing in with the away fans. No too serious, just police were just keeping them apart. You would have seen that on the match vlog. So here we are once again. Deja vu. Cambridge last year, Sheffield Wednesday this year. Look, Sheffield Wednesday are second in League One. They're going to get up. You would think that they'll get promoted this season, will be a championship side. They're too big of a club. And I'm not coming on here to disrespect Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to give you some praise, so stay with us, Owls fans. But let's begin what we normally do with the last word, is we'll take a look at the lineup. And when you look at that lineup, first of all, what has Carl Darlow got to do to start? Carl Darlow must be inside, absolutely raging that Martin Dubravka comes back and he's straight in the lineup straight away. That tells me that Carl Darlow's third choice at the club. No Alan Saint-Maximin. Rumours are rife all over Twitter. Where is he? Has he had a bust up? That's a video for another separate occasion. Then you look at the rest of the lads and think, right, okay, great to see Alexander Isak back. That was the main plus tonight. But a lot of those lads are playing for their positions to try and get an Eddie Howe side for the rest of the season. This squad is absolutely killing it in the league. But a lot of those players that came in, the squad players, simply weren't good enough. Normally I talk about players who performed well towards the end of the game, the end of this video, sorry. But for me, I'm going to do it the other way around. Joe Linton is the only one for me, seeing it inside the stadium. You see it in a different perspective, seeing the whole pitch, the wide pitch. He's the only one to take a little bit of credit today. I think everybody was pissed for. Yes, you might say the substitutions re-galvanised Newcastle. We'll come into that in a second, but into the first half, then Dubravka's tested, so's their goalkeeper, to be fair. Warning signs were there. They were cutting us apart in the back line. Obviously, the only one who would start regular is Sven Botman. His record is now gone. So Fabian Schär still has a record. Fabian Schär's missed 2 games this season, and Newcastle have lost both of them. What does that tell you? Let me know in the comments. Not picking on Sven Botman, it wasn't his fault at all. Just a stat I was reeling off to you. But the signs were there that we're getting ripped apart. Was I worried? I think if we scored first, I think we probably would have went on to win the game, in all honesty. But, you know, the longer it goes in, because the longer the game goes on, the more that the home fans will voice up, and they were getting louder and louder as the game was going on. They were quiet to begin with, and I think Owls fans will agree with that. And it kind of switched in the second half. We were a little bit more quieter, they were louder. Obviously, goals help. Let's talk about the goal then. For me, when you look at that and you break that down, when it comes to the lad, I think is it Windass? He's got a couple. Jamal Lascelles has got to get a yard in forward. He has to stop that. That's not a goal for me, Fabian Schär plays. For me, on the form that Fabian Schär's had this season. The cleverness of the positions are swapped round, and Lascelles, who's moved out, and Botman comes in, and Botman, if that was Botman's man, I think Botman stops it. But for me, that's my criticism there. 1-0 up, the place is bouncing. It's an FA Cup tie. Gary Lineker's here, Alan Shearer's here. They're all in the studio. We've seen him in the corner of the box, giving him a bit of a stick and everything. But 2-0 shortly after, Newcastle's defence is just cut open. What's going on? Questions on the goalkeeper. Nah, I'm not really picking it to Dubravka, although I would have liked to see Darlow start, but that's for different reasons. I think that's more personal rather than football ability. But with 2-0 doing it, I'm thinking, nah, we're going to now. We're going to new. Eddie Howe had already made a change. It's half time, bringing Chris Wood on for Isak. That was already planned. We knew that. But then 2-0 down, he just makes a triple sub. He gets them all on. Later on, he brings on Trippier as well. We scored not long after we went 2-0 down, to be fair, through a corner which Wood gets a flick on, the keeper saves, and it comes back to Bruno. If the keeper didn't save it and it hit Bruno, it would have been offside. That's the reason why we've been given the goal. So it's 2-1, and it's Newcastle fans are piping up, the shouting on, back in the game. Do you know what I mean? But it didn't really happen. We had a lot of possession. Sheffield Wednesday parked the bus, every right to. They're going to beat a Premier League side. Fantastic for them. But we were putting in crosses. Not enough for me. get in the ball, get into the mix a lot more. You've got Chris Wood up top, utilise him. For me, it wasn't enough, but the time where we broke through, really, really frustrated, because Joe Litton, again, for me, man the match. He plays a fantastic ball through to Chris Wood, squares the tube on a plate. He's got half the goal, 3/4 of the goal, and he puts it out of the bar. It's an absolutely shocking miss. In fact, it's a disgraceful miss. A Premier League striker should be putting that away, or at the very least, should be putting that on target. I'm not going to point the finger all at Chris Wood, no, because we should be scoring, no disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday, 2s, 3s, 4s in a game like this. Doesn't matter what side, we're the Premier League side, we should be teaching them a lesson. But unfortunately, the Owls fans taught us a lesson tonight. They were fantastic. They had a game plan. Sheffield Wednesday were fantastic. They wanted it. They were fighting for it. They were better on the counter-attack. They fully deserve to go through. I've got no problems with that whatsoever. On the flip side, if there is any, Newcastle don't have to have 3 cup competitions. Do we have the squad for it? Probably not. Does that open the door for some warm weather training once again? I'm going to speculate and say yes, it probably does. So that whole, I went to Saudi Arabia. Do they look at Saudi Arabia again? Because they're not in the FA Cup anymore. They'll have a week off somewhere. International break, of course, will be coming back around once again as well. So there's an opportunity for Eddie Howe to take his squad away again. If that happens, I'm going to try and get back out there once again. But we're at the FA Cup, man. We are at the FA Cup, which is disappointing. Really disappointing. So fair play to Sheffield Wednesday. There was a bit of carry on at the end. You've seen it on the match vlog, a bit of banter between the two sides. But hey, if we won, we would have done exactly the same. So I'm not going to point the finger and say, oh, he's a dick, he's a dick, he's a dick, he's a dick. We would have been fucking dicks if we won. Of course we fucking would have. Let's not kid ourselves. It happens in football. Just really frustrating. There's a lot of players out there who had the chance to show Eddie Howe in the squad depth. It worries me. It really worries me. It's great to see Isak. It's great to see him in the start line, getting 45 minutes. He'll become a big player for us for the rest of the season. But the focus switches to Tuesday, where you'll put a fully strength squad out against Leicester. And for me, I said this before this game, that's a bigger game than the Fulham one afterwards. Because we beat Leicester, doesn't matter how we win them, if we just get through, penalties, whatever, a 5-0 or a 1-0 scrappy own goal, we'll take it. That's a bigger game, because that puts you in the semi-final, and then you can start dreaming. The league is really important, of course it is, but right this week, that Leicester game is bigger than the Fulham game as well. Really disappointed. Thankfully, in one sense, it's just a short journey home, because I wouldn't want to be doing 4 or 5 hours Ganyem in this. Johnny's had to shoot off early. I'm still hanging around here. I'll be in the car for a while anyways, because there's traffic rife anyway. But let's hear from Eddie Howe.
I thought in front of goal tonight was probably the big problem for us. I thought we had, all the way through the game, different stages, really good chances to score. So the goalkeeper made some great saves. We were wasteful with a couple of opportunities. And in games like this, that they're difficult games, when you get your moments, you've got to try and take them an edge ahead. We didn't, and that gave Wednesday a chance. Disappointed with the 2 goals. I need to see them back. They didn't look great from our defensive perspective. But we're always in the game right to the end. I thought the lads gave everything to try and get something out the tie. Yeah,
so that was Eddie Howe on all things Gan Newton. As I say, Sheffield Wednesday fans, fantastic. You deserve to go through and hopefully get you promoted. So, your other club, you might get in the Premier League. Why can't you get in the Championship? It'd be good for the city. But we're disappointed. People are going to laugh at it once again. We deserve to be laughed at. It happened last year with Cambridge, all that money. It'll happen again. We'll have it for a few days until we get over Leicester. We've got to bounce back now. That's where the real strength of this team and this character is. We've got to go and bounce back now, because it's technically 3 games without a win now, isn't it? We've got to go and beat Leicester City now for me. Because if we get put out on Tuesday night, there's going to be doubts, isn't there, creeping in. Transfer window, of course. Speculation around players coming and going. Alan saint-maximin, why is he not involved? That'll conjure up more and more rumours. The official line is that Alan saint-maximin was ill or injured or whatever. Eddie Howe, of course, is not going to say if he has had a real bust up with him, because that's a story Gan runs. I don't get it. I don't get why Alan Saint-Maximum's not playing. There's something not right for me. I was doing the Arsenal game when I was doing North London. Jacob Murphy's getting on 20 minutes ahead of Alan Saint-Maximin. What's that about? Whether that's the player himself or the character or defensive abilities, I don't know. But there's something up with Alan Saint-Maximin. It's all over Twitter if you haven't seen it. Going to do a separate video on that when it dies down, I think, because we can dissect it and then see what it's all about. But you can see, well, I don't think you can see Hillsborough now because the lights are being turned off in the distance behind us. But that's a wrap, everybody. I know it's difficult to take, but please help out here by hitting that like. I'm pissed off as much as any other Toon fan every single game, but you know, it's a small blip. It feels like a big one because I've been put out the FA Cup, but we want to be beaten twice this season. So fair play at Sheffield Wednesday. You join Liverpool when that was a whole corrupt night anyways, but Sheffield Wednesday fully deserved it for me. We didn't break them down and we suffered the consequences because our defensive capabilities were absolutely shit. But that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you stay well and we'll see you very, very shortly here on Newcastle Fans TV.